Welcome, 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 everyone, to another episode of Finding Freedom Through Confidence. This is your weekly show as we're going to be kicking things off for another series. Over the last month, we were dealing with some different series in the leadership journey. And now we are moving into a new leadership series called Believe the Surprising Truth Behind Leadership Success. And so we're going to be looking at why belief and focus is the hidden leadership edge. And so, again, welcome everyone to another episode of Finding Freedom Through Confidence. This is the space where we always say that confidence is not something that you pick up from a supermarket shelf, but it is an ever growing muscle. If this is your first time coming into contact with me and my content, thank you so much for listening in. I am Tanique Easy, speaker, corporate trainer, facilitator, empowerment coach. I help new frontline and mid-level leaders, managers rather, reduce the flow of turnover, disengagement, and poor leadership execution so that their companies can stop losing money by equipping them with the mindset skills to retain talent, to drive performance, and deliver ROI using my proprietary MVP framework. So here's the thing. Many people Many people believe that leadership. Good morning, Leslie. So happy to see you this morning, joining us from North Carolina in the US of A. Again, just share with us where you're joining with us from, whether you're live on YouTube or LinkedIn. We are streaming live both on LinkedIn and on YouTube. And so many people believe leadership is about confidence. But what if I tell you that the surprising truth is that belief, not perfect confidence, is what separates leaders who last from the ones who fade away? You see, last week I was listening to the Diary of a CEO, and one of the points that was brought out by Guy Raz and Stephen Bartlett is that those leaders from every walk of life who became exceptional, they didn't start out, or they started out without perfect confidence. So they didn't start with perfect confidence. And so one of the things we ought to remember, and this came out as well, is that self-doubt is common among people. So if you are feeling self-doubt, it is common. But what carries these leaders is a strong belief in the problem that they are solving for the people they're solving the problem for, belief in the product that they are developing. They will have strong belief in the mission, and they do that even when confidence wavers. And so it's not about perfect confidence initially. It's about belief, it is about focus. And so the leaders who typically grow and the ones who inspire and succeed, they don't always feel confident. So and that's the thing. But what they do, they hold on to that belief, they hold on to that vision, they hold on to that mindset that yes, it can happen, it will happen, it can work. And so I have an early question for you. I have an early question for you that I want you to share, and share your answers in the comments. And so I want to ask you if you've ever had to lead even when you weren't confident. Have you ever had to lead even when you weren't confident? Like for me, when I showed up at my very first workshop, I really wasn't confident. It wasn't because I was beaming with confidence why I showed up. The truth is that I was showing up. I was scared. I literally was scared. But belief kept me going. Belief that I could support these women that showed up, supported these women that trusted me to experiment because I'm going to say it was an experiment. They trusted me to experiment with them. That we were going to do an experiment and I was going to carry them through that experiment for a few months. And so, likewise, when I was thrust into the role of leadership in my community organization, I wasn't confident. Like, no, I wasn't. I I walked confident. I looked confident, but to be honest, that was not the reality. That was absolutely not the reality. It was furthest from the truth, and so that it was as it related to my ability to lead. And again, I didn't allow what I didn't do was to allow the self doubt to stop me. I didn't allow that to stop me. What I did is I leaned in and I started to learn the how to's of leadership. And it came to that space. And so for first time managers and mid level managers who are listening to me right now, and you are thinking, and I should be sharing my slides with you, which I didn't. Right. And so for first time managers, I'm going to bring that up. Good morning, Linda. It's been a while. Good to see you this morning. And so one of the things first time managers, as first time managers, you may be asking yourself, why me? Because I asked myself that question too. So you weren't the only one. You're not the only one. Why me? And am I ready? Am I really ready? And yes, you are. It may not show up right now, but yes, you are ready. And what if I fail? And these are good questions, you know. Don't take it that you're asking silly questions. These are good questions because belief doesn't mean that you're gonna know it all. What belief does is that it means that you're choosing to trust your ability to grow into this role. You're leaning into your ability. You're leaning into that part of you that, yes, there is doubt, but you're going to believe in yourself that I can grow into this role. You're going to believe in the team that you have around you to rise with you. They're going to rise with you. And so the currency, right? So here's a currency tip that I have for you, a currency investment tip in your belief that I have for you. Is to, as new managers, as mid-level managers, is to start with small leadership acts. Um, Run a meeting, even if you don't know how. Run a meeting. Volunteer yourself to run a meeting. Give clear direction. It is practice. Give clear direction. Deliver feedback. One of the things that I have been privileged to, and I've been talking to some HR leaders, and one of the things that they are frustrated with is that especially their new and mid-level managers, they are afraid to deliver feedback. They don't know how to do it, and so they often leave that part out of the development process of their teams. And so deliver that feedback. Take your time to craft what you want to say and to ask those questions and deliver that feedback. Because here's the thing, each small win is going to compound your belief of your investment belief, your currency of belief within yourself. And it's going to compound the currency of belief in your team as well. And so this is what it is like. It's like when you start doing that, it's like you starting to learn to swim, right? It's like you starting to learn to swim. You don't believe that you are already good, because if you were already a good swimmer, you would have had the confidence. However, you are just learning how to swim, so you know that you are not that good. However, you know that, or you believe that, so you have confidence now. You have that belief that the water will hold you up, that when you start swimming or when you start floating, then because they may start you off floating, learning how to float before you go underneath the water. So when you start learning how to float, you're gonna hold, you're gonna believe, you believe that the water will hold you up. And so you practice and you become better. So one of the things that I asked a few weeks ago, I was doing a session, and I asked the person, so practice makes what? Because some people says practice makes perfect. But if practice makes perfect and what you're practicing, or no, not perfect, but practice makes permanent rather. If you are practicing the wrong thing and that is permanent, then we are in trouble. Because if that is permanent and that practice is not a good practice, you can't erase it, you can't change it. And so practice makes improvement, practice makes us become better. And so what is going to happen here is that you're going to, what does the belief look like? What does this look like for you as a new frontline manager, as a mid-level manager? Is that you are going to start trusting in your leadership potential. This is what it looks like. You're going to take those investment steps and you're going to start trusting in your leadership potential. You're going to also start believing in your team's capability. You're going to allow them to do things. You're not going to micromanage, but you're going to allow them to do things. And you're going to start acting even when you doubt, because doubt is inevitable. Doubt is there. We all face doubt. And so another question that I want to ask, yeah, I like to ask questions. I like to ask engagement questions. And so the engagement question that I have for you is that, what is that one small leadership act you can take this week to start building or to start investing in your leadership belief, in the belief in yourself as a leader? Because when you trust when you start trusting your leadership potential, you start taking small steps. You you're going to reframe the negative. Because here's the thing, I want to show us something. You see, you may not be able to see the battery, or maybe you will, but every battery that we have, it has a positive end and a negative end. And so the negative, when you open the battery, when you open this battery, you're not going to see the negative and the positive. But when you put on the casing, they put a positive end and a negative end. Inside of this casing, it's just one thing. And so we are one, right? I hope I'm making sense to you, but we are like this battery. We have a negative and we have a positive. And so when you start to trust in your leadership abilities, when you start to learn to trust in your leadership potential, the more you trust in it, the more positive you're going to start thinking, the more positive that your mindset will become, because it's a mindset shift that you're working on. Because the doubt is the negative part, and it's not going to go away, because we have positive and negative within us, within our brains. And I know Leslie can talk about that. We have the positive and the negative aspects of our mindset, rather, not even of our brain, but of our mindset. We have the positive and the negative, just like this battery does have a positive and a negative part to it. And so when we start to develop more, or we start to reframe and we start to think more positive, we start to move towards more positive thinking. And not just positive thinking, because positive thinking is one thing, but when you start to believe, and that's where the belief comes in, because you can think positive, but you may not believe. And so the belief is what is going to compound your capabilities. The belief is what, because you're going to start believing in your team. You're going to allow them to do things that's going to bring out their capabilities. And so again, we go back to, you're going to start acting even in that face of doubt. Because yes, the doubt will always be there. It's that little voice, but it's going to always be there. But the more you reframe and practice and start believing, not only saying the words, but believing in your capabilities. Because here's the thing, confidence requires irrefutable evidence. Confidence requires irrefutable evidence. What do I mean by that? Well, if we keep repeating something in a positive way, our confidence is going to look for, or our mindset rather, is going to look for the things that say, yes, you did that. And so the more we do it, and it's going to compound. So we're looking for those positive things that we have done. And the more we do them, the more we highlight them, then the evidence is there. It's like you having a receipt. So your positivity is, or your belief rather, is your receipt. The receipt. So there is nobody, you have a receipt and you have gone to a store, you bought something, you have your receipt to prove that you bought it. And you can return it. You don't have the receipt, that's just rhetoric. You're just talking, because you can't go back to the store and say, I bought this, and you don't have your receipt. Your receipt leads to the confidence, leads to the belief. That is your belief. Your irrefutable evidence is that receipt that you have. And it has your name on it, and you would have done that. And so, yes, I just wanted to just get that out. So mid-level managers, you may be saying to yourself, like, I am pulled in 10 different directions. And so what am I gonna do? What am I doing? However, you are saying, I am managing up, I am managing down, I am managing across, and I don't know what are my real priorities. I really don't know what those are. And so without focus, you can burn out, you can start to micromanage. And so the focus here is your ability to align every action that you do with purpose, with intent, stretching. What does that look like? What am I building? Will this build trust in my team? Those are the questions that we need to be asking ourselves. Will this create clarity for my team? Will this grow my team? So we ask those questions, those focus questions, because if these things are not growing us or growing our team, it's just noise. Welcome, Dr. Marcia. So happy to have you this morning with us. Thank you so much joining us over here on LinkedIn. And so, yes, leadership self-check is so important. We have to stop and check ourselves as leaders. And so when as leaders, here is your leadership currency, the focus as a leadership currency. You're going to, again, focus on the things that align with purpose. Focus on things that align with the purpose of your department. Because remember, you would have already taken that vision, because we did that a few weeks ago. You would have already taken that vision, right? You would have already taken that vision, and you have taken that vision and you have created your departmental vision. But what is the purpose of your department? Not what are you doing? So it's not aligning with pressure, but it's aligning with purpose. And say no to distractions. You want to say no to distractions. Sometimes we get so easily distracted by the noise of trying to do everything. And so especially as new leaders, we want to do it all ourselves. And that's where micromanaging comes in. That's where you start to burn out yourself and your team. And that's why I have guard your team's energy. You need to guard your team's energy. And so you want to focus on those things. And so, yes, Dr. Marcia, what I call active alignment, excellent questions. Purpose-driven decisions are always more intentional and sustainable. Absolutely. Absolutely. I like that one, Dr. Marcia. So, yes. purpose driven decisions. And so when I want us to take it, let us talk about this from the aspect. Always remember your purpose. Indeed, Leslie, we must always remember our purpose. And so, what I want us to think about here as we're talking about aligning with purpose and focusing on, your leadership as a currency, is that let's think about a garden. You have a garden and you want to trim it up, you want to remove the weeds. The weeds are the distractions. And so the real plants, so you want to remove the weeds, you want to, so that the real plants can grow. And so what do we look like? What does that look like? Hi, Jackie. Good morning. Welcome. Welcome. So happy to have you this morning, Jackie. But what does that look like? Removing the weeds, picking up those weeds, because the weeds are the distractions. And so the real plants are your people and your purpose. And you want your people to grow and you want the weeds to be removed. And so my engagement question that I really like asking engagement questions because I want to see where my audience is at. I want to hear your thoughts because your answers always determine what I actually share in my next live, right? And so you help me to create even more content for you. And so that's how you kind of guard your team's energy, thinking about it like gardening, picking up the weeds, also saying no to distractions. What are the distractions that are coming your way that really don't belong on your desk? What are some of the things that really don't belong on your desk as a leader, as a new frontline manager or a mid-level manager? What are some of the things that do not belong on your desk? And so you want to ask yourself, what is one thing that is on my plate right now that doesn't serve my purpose as a leader? And you may not have the answer right away, but think about it, reflect on it. Reflect on it. And so and you also, again, another leadership self-check question is, what beliefs are holding you back right now? Do you believe that I have to do all the work? Do you believe that my team is not capable? What's your level of belief? What are those beliefs that are holding you back? What are those negative beliefs that are holding you back? Remember, I said, if we think about a battery, there is a positive and the negative. And within us, we have the positive and the negative as well. And so, what focus shifts do you need to make in your leadership role right now? What are some of the things that you need to take off your plate, take off your desk, and hand it over to your team? So you want to ask yourself those questions. And so, as leaders, as managers, remember this: belief is not a one time project, it's a portfolio investment, and you pay for it in the currency of mindset, of vision, and of performance. And so, when managers pair belief with focus, they start to move from surviving to actually leading. You start to understand and have that currency, develop that currency of belief that I can do this, my team can do this. And you start to understand that focus, this is what matters. What matters is helping my team to reduce the distraction. What matters is helping myself to reduce the distraction. And what matters is not just the KPIs, but how is it that my team is doing personally? You want to invest time in your team's development. What is it? How are they doing personally? Not just coming to work and putting on a mask and pretending that everything is fine, but talking to them, asking those questions, having those one-on-one sessions with them. And I know, as a new leader, when I was new in leadership myself, it was hard because I didn't know exactly what to do, but I started to lean in, learn. It's about learning on the go. You're not going to have it all together all at once. It's about continuous learning, and the doubt is going to be there. But the more you do it, the more your confidence will develop, because the more you believe in self, the more you believe in your ability to lead, the greater that investment will pay off. And so believing that you can lead authentically. You want to believe that you can lead authentically, even if you're new. You want to lead with clarity. Focus on 2 to 3 things that matters the most. You building trust. That's one of the key things as a new manager. Building trust, creating an environment, creating a psychologically safe culture and environment for your team. So those are 2 to 3, those are 2 things that you can work on. And the third one that you can work on is delivering with clarity, understanding how you talk to others. And Dr. Marcia always said, understand how you trigger others and how others trigger you. That is a part of the leadership growth journey. And so this week, I want you to choose one action. For the rest of this week, choose one action that shows belief, one action that shows focus, and see how, document it and see how your leadership belief starts to shift. Not just your confidence, because confidence comes in secondary. Belief plus focus is that leadership edge. The great leaders, they didn't start with perfect confidence, but what they did, they started with belief in the mission, belief in their vision, believe in the product or the solution or the what they were solving. They believed much in that. Self-doubt was there, but they believed in themselves and they had focus. They focused on what they wanted to achieve, not what they didn't want to achieve. And so again, here's a surprising truth, is that behind every leadership success is not perfect confidence. It's belief, it's focus, because confidence grows later. Belief and focus are the currencies you spend every day as a leader. And so I want to invite you, if this has resonated with you, continue to drop your comments in the chat. Let me know what were the takeaways. Let me know what stood out most to you, and what is it that you'll be doing going forward. And so again, I drop these leadership lives every Thursday, weekly, every Thursday at 7:30 a.m. Central Standard Time, 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for these leadership conversations. The masterclass, I have a masterclass that's coming up. It's called, in my masterclass, The Secrets for First Time and Mid-Level Manager Success, the MVP Leadership Essentials. I'll be going through and I'll be showing you how to build these currencies so you can lead boldly without burning out yourself, burning out your team, second guessing yourself, and you're going to stop the retention risk before they cost your company millions. And so if you're a first-time leader, you're a mid-level leader, or you support these managers, these leaders, this is also for you. And so I want you to go ahead and to type the word belief in the chat, or send me a direct message and I will send you the link to register for the masterclass. So remember this: belief, flexibility, and focus are the currencies of a leader's growth mindset. And as we always say, confidence isn't something that you pick up from a supermarket shelf. It is an ever-growing muscle. Thank you for joining me on another episode of Finding Freedom Through Confidence. See you next time.